what are we now? Almost 3 years into the commission's work. It's been an incredible journey, and I think it's just been hugely successful in creating a new conversation and a new moment. So that, I think, is really the most important, that there is this moment, and I feel there's an increasing number of people who understand and then can see a new path forward. There are also, of course, challenges. I think, Jeremy, you mentioned how, a number of really significant organizations who have been very long-term champions for creating a better world through the use of research evidence are really struggling at this point, including Campbell, Cochrane, and others. And so there are some very significant short-term challenges. We need to make sure those strong, independent brands and voices remain strong and become stronger, as these kind of new pieces come together. I think also, people have mentioned a little bit around artificial intelligence, machine learning. I think it's very clearly both a challenge and opportunity. I think the challenge is that we're going to see an explosion. We are just at the start, but we're going to see an explosion of products and tools and services that are built off AI, that do not incorporate the standards and principles that we know that are at the core of good evidence and good decision making, and they will be very, very attractive to decision makers, to policy makers, and others. They're using them already. They will increasingly use them. I think there will be a sense of, why do we need anything more than this? I can get everything I want just from entering my question. So I think for those of us in the evidence world who understand and have a real commitment to the way that we can use research evidence in much more effective ways to make better decisions, we need to move very, very quickly. We do not have much time. And I think the core message of the Commission being, we need stronger systems is primary. We need that, but we also, of course, need to look at the ways we can very rapidly build systems that use AI or machine learning in more productive and positive ways. And on that note, I'm very optimistic. I think the underlying language models that these technologies are built off are very powerful, and they will enable us to build much stronger systems. I never like to mention my own initiatives, but I think people are expecting me to mention ALIVE. So to mention, so ALIVE is alliance of partners looking to advance the living evidence model. I, of course, very heartened about the way that living evidence is getting momentum, and I think people understand that now we are kind of within reach of having evidence products that are both trustworthy and up to date. But to me, for those of us who've been working really closely in living evidence in recent years, we understand that living evidence is not really about an evidence product. It's about the coalitions or the partnerships that you build around that. The key opportunity is the conversations, because living evidence is dynamic. It's always changing, it's always evolving. And I think what we're trying to do in ALIVE is really build a model in which evidence users are in the driver's seat. It is truly demand driven. It's not a commissioning process in essence. It's really a conversation in which evidence users are expressing their questions, their concerns, their contexts, and we have an evidence system that can respond dynamically and efficiently to that. And so in terms of what I want to see, of course, I'd love to see that model tested in many different settings, and so that collectively we can better understand how best to advance that model, so that we don't just have up-to-date evidence, but we have evidence that is really responding to the questions and concerns of decision makers. So kudos to the 3Js for driving all of this, and to everyone else who's been contributing. It's been an amazing journey.
Great. Thank you very much, Julian. I'll pass it back over to John.
Great. If we could just pull the slides up, I'll quickly cover implementation priority 3, and then we'll hear a few words in video form from Maureen. So signs of building momentum with implementation